Hello and welcome again to Conscious Conversation. And today we have our guests, one of our Science of Mind practitioners. She is going to give her names, but today we are talking about possibilities. Most of the time, we are always, when you don't know about it, you are always preparing yourself for the worst so that you are ready for any eventualities. But do we ever look at, or rather, do you usually try and prepare ourselves for the best? That is a question we are going to discuss today with my guest, Kerith, who is going to, whom I'm going to give her time now to introduce herself, and then we set the ball rolling. So welcome, Kerith, and tell us about yourself.
Hi, Patrick.
Hello.
My name is Kerith Wanjiro. I'm practitioner with CSLK, and I'm a member or I serve at Soma, Kenya. I've been at studying the teaching of Ernest Holmes for a while now, around 8 years.
Okay.
I'm a mother to one daughter,
All right.
and I am happy to be here.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I know a bit about you because we've been here and there with you, done this, done that, as they say, and I even know you are
Yeah.
beautiful daughter. So you said you are a member or you serve in Soma. For people listening to this video the first time, or for people coming across Soma for the first time, what is Soma?
um, Soma is a group for the teachers. We are currently now underway in the process of becoming a teaching chapter, but it's a book club at the moment.
A study group?
A group of people, of like-minded individuals coming together
Mm.
to help um, spread the teaching of Ernest Holmes, the philosophy of Ernest Holmes across Africa.
That is Science of Mind.
Yes, science of
Yeah,
mind.
and I believe the actual name is Science of Mind Africa.
Yes, science of mind Africa. So it's the teaching and the philosophy of science of mind, Ernest Holmes' philosophy across Africa.
Okay. So you have been a student of Ernest Holmes, that is Science of Mind, for quite some time now. When did it all start? How do you discover Science of Mind?
I actually bumped into science of mind by accident. Um, that was in 2016 when I bumped into this philosophy uh, through a friend on Facebook, and he had posted a few things about Christ consciousness. Now, I was very keen to find out more because I'd never interacted with him one on one, and I was keen on finding out what this was about. So I inboxed him. That was in 2016. I
Mhm.
inboxed him and asked, this is not Professor, Engineer Dan Mungai. And I inboxed him and I asked whether I can ask a couple of questions. I'm very keen about what I saw him post on Facebook. And that's how we started engaging. He invited me for what he then termed as conscious conversations. I attended only two,
Ah,
but the information that was coming at me, I was not yet ready
mm,
to receive.
mhm.
So I was very resistant to what he was sharing. It went against everything that I had been taught and believed. And so I attended a few sessions and didn't really follow it through in 2017, but the seed had been planted.
Mm.
And I couldn't get it off my mind. It kept circling over and over in my mind. What is this that Engineer Mungai was saying? And I started looking it up and I started asking questions. And he invited me to one of Connie's conscious conversations, Reverend Connie's conscious conversations on a Sunday. I did not understand anything that was being shared in that group, but it felt like something I'd always known, like a remembering. And so I
Mhm.
came for two sessions. And after the two sessions, I decided it was towards the end of 2017.
Mhm.
And so they were just starting on a new discovery class the following year. So
Mhm.
Connie invited me to do that, and I enrolled in the class in the year 2018 in January for the discovery class. And
Okay.
that's how I came into the teachings of Ernest Holmes. It was through the ball started rolling in 2016 through a post on social media,
Okay. I
and
may
I've
not.
never looked back since.
I may not ask you what the post talked about unless you can remember, but it made you seek. Was it Mongai?
Yes, Engineer Dan Mungai.
Yeah, it made you look for him, and you connected, and
Yes, I
you
did.
you went for two meetings, but it did not kind of hit home. Exactly why? Do you remember why you could not really connect?
As I mentioned, when I went for the first conscious conversation that was being had by led by Engineer Dan Mungai and his friend Dan Masharia,
Mm,
I said it's information that felt like a remembering,
mhm,
but yet at the same time it was very scary because it went against every religious teaching that I'd ever heard. And Engineer Dan Mongai said, we are Christ consciousness. We are all Christ. How
mm,
can we be all Christ? That goes
okay.
against everything I've ever been taught. But for some reason, I kept yearning for
Mhm,
that. There's
mm,
something in me that kept yearning for that. And so I went for a couple of conversations. And most of the time, I actually went because I wanted something to do.
mm.
But the universe uses the path of least resistance to get you to where it needs you to be. And
Sure it
so I
has.
went, and a seed was sowed in me that time.
Mm,
And that seed is the one that kept the fire burning until I attended the discovery class. Over 1 year, it
mm,
would not lay down and die. It just kept pushing me and pushing me because it knew there was something there that my soul knew,
mm,
identified with, recognized.
mm,
And so for almost over a year,
mm.
I stayed away and avoided, but that fire was already lit in me and it would not go off.
Okay. So,
Yes.
that is like we can say like 9 years ago.
Yes.
It was nine
That's
years ago,
9 years
and
ago is when I first came onto the teaching.
yeah, and I was in another meeting where you were talking how you came to Source of Mind, and you said one of the reasons you came to Source of Mind was in order to get rich. Are you rich now?
Yes. I'm rich in ways that I cannot even begin to describe.
Mhm,
Now, when I went to Connie's class, Conscious Conversation, and she told me to read through their website, I did. And it looked very nice and very flowery, and you change your mind, change your life, which is in the philosophy of Ernest Holmes. Change your mind, change your thinking, change your thoughts, change your life. And
mm,
so I thought I'll think a few flowery thoughts and the money would flow. I was looking for a formula,
mm,
and that's the only way life would lead me onto this path. Because
mm.
had it come packaged in any other way, I wouldn't have bothered.
Okay.
But life knew how to get my attention. And
Mhm,
so I was looking for a formula. According to what was on the website, I was
mm,
going to get the formula and I was going to get rich and walk away. But there's a teaching, I think it's in ancient Rome or Greece,
mm,
where they teach about um what is this? Transforming lead into gold.
mm.
And so many
Yes.
people had tried it over the years
Yeah.
using different elements, using monoatomic gold that is gotten from seawater to refine lead to gold, never understanding the deeper meaning of this. This was given by a sage. About it was about transforming. It was never about the actual metal. It was a synonym for transforming your thoughts,
Mm,
refining them,
mm,
renewing them,
mm.
your attitudes, your values, your beliefs,
Yeah.
polishing it. And what comes out on the other side
Yes.
is a finished product
Okay.
that is worth as much as gold. But people understood it to mean you can transmute lead to gold, which we know it is not possible. There's no gold in lead, but
Mm,
it was pointing towards renewing,
mm.
refining
Yeah.
ourselves to the value from a base metal to a
Mm.
higher value
Right. Yeah.
metal. Yes. And so when I came for gold, because
Mm.
I was going to transmute lead to gold,
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that the process of transformation from lead to gold
Mm.
would bring me to the place that I am in now. And I
Okay.
look back, I was sharing with someone and I said, I look back at that person. I have a photo of when I was in that class, discovery class.
Mm.
And I look at that person and my heart goes out to her because where I am standing now, I knew that she would have to walk this journey. I am her future self.
Yes.
And she had to walk that journey. And I'm not saying the journey has ended. This is a journey that you walk through for the rest of your life.
Mm.
But I look at her and I see her with all the ideas and ideologies that she had and values that she held,
Mm.
and I'm a totally different person. And
Okay.
now I understand that ancient teaching
Mm.
that have been transmuted from the base person that I was
Mm. Mm.
to um a woman that I would not have it any other way. Like this is a gift.
Mm.
This is a gift that has no compare. You cannot equate it to anything.
Okay.
But had you told me that at the beginning of the journey, I would have walked away.
Particularly when you couldn't believe that you
That
are
I'm not going to
you are
transmute this to
Christ
gold.
consciousness.
Yes, but I, the person that emerged
Mm.
was such a wholesome
Mm.
person. I'm not going to say I have value person because that person was still high value. I was still whole even
Mm.
then,
Yes.
just buried under
Yes.
a lot of base metals.
Yes. You
But
are.
I look
Yeah.
at the person that has emerged. What a gift. What a
Yes.
gift. And this is the process
Yeah.
of
You remind
transmuting.
me. You remember me of the story of the Golden Buddha. Have you heard about
Yes,
Golden Buddha? Yeah.
yes,
For the benefit of those who have not heard the story of the Golden Buddha, maybe you can just briefly talk about it so that they can
yes,
relate. Yeah.
yes, that people, there were monks that were moving from one monastery because of safety issues and moving away from the place that they had known as home for a very long time.
Yes.
And there were statues and some valuables that things of value, not valuables, but things that they valued that
Mm.
they had to move with. And one of them was this mud statue. And they moved with it, but it was just a mud statue.
Mm.
But they valued it and they took it with them. And along the way, I don't know whether it rained or the cracks started because of the very bumpy rides, and the
Yeah.
cracks started showing, and the mud covering started falling off.
Yes.
And along the journey, bit by bit, the mud covering started falling down. The monastery had been invaded. Nobody wanted to loot the mud Buddha. Who wants to loot a mud statue?
Yes.
And so that is one of the things that was left behind, and
Mm.
they took it with them. But along the way, the mud that was covering the statue started falling. It
Yes.
started falling off, revealing this golden statue
Mm.
that was always underneath.
Yes.
It hadn't changed the value. It is
Yeah.
just that whatever it is that was covering it up
Yeah.
had
I,
fallen
I also
off.
I, I also had the same story, but we keep on maybe hearing different versions, or is what we remember. The person
Yes,
carrying the person carrying the statue was complaining
yes, yeah,
because it was such a heavy load and it's mud anyway, so why bother? But he kept on carrying it, only
yes.
for it to start raining. And so the mud was washed away, and what remained was the golden Buddha.
The golden Buddha. The
Yeah,
value was always there, buried underneath all that mud.
yes.
The value was
So
always
we can
there.
say
They needed
philosophies,
the rain, they
yeah.
needed the bumpy ride. And
Mm.
notice how whatever it is that needs to happen for the real you to emerge is not always a pleasant journey. It is
No,
not always songs and butterflies,
so,
but there is a process to to it that is very unpleasant,
Okay.
that tends to be painful.
Mm.
But what emerges at the other end
Mm.
is something that your mind could never have conceived.
Okay.
Something had you heard of the future you from someone else, you'd
Mm.
never have believed that
Oh,
is who that person was unfolding and
mm.
emerging from within you. So it is a gift that keeps on giving, is what I can say.
So after attending two meetings, you kind of gave up. What made you
Yes,
come
it did.
back? What made you come back and stick?
Now, when I attended those meetings and I felt like this was blasphemy, so I never went back. And after a while, my mom got sickly. My mom got sickly, and I couldn't find the answers. I really was searching for answers.
Mm.
Why is this not working? We are going to hospital, we are doing everything we need to do, and it's not working. And then my mom transitioned, and that hit me really hard. When my mom transitioned, it forced me to a very unfamiliar place of questioning everything I'd ever known, of questioning everything I'd ever been taught. Because if this worked, then why did this happen?
Mm.
But it is a very base way of looking at a life experience. But that is what needed for me to happen to me. That
Mm.
experience for me
Yeah.
to be pushed to a place where I needed to go. And I always say, my mom's transition for me, I feel like it was her gift to me, like her parting gift to me, and saying, "Well, I've gone, and this is the gift I give you
Mm.
for you to go and find yourself."
Mm-hmm.
Because by that happening, I set out on a journey where it has been rough, it has been good, there's been laughter, there's been tears, and a rediscovering of who I was, wherever it is that I'd left myself. Because I'd abandoned myself for other ideals and other labels along the way. And I didn't even know that I abandoned myself. I didn't know I was living my life, but my authentic self
Mm.
was buried under a lot of layers of mud
Mm.
and facades and masks and walls. You couldn't find me if you tried.
Were you trying to
And
hide yourself? What? Why?
yes, because I had created masks over another, over another, over another, one over the other, one of the other.
What were you
And my
covering?
authentic self was
What were you
covered under
covering?
all that.
What were you
It
covering?
was covered under all that.
Sorry?
My
What were you?
authentic self,
Mm.
as with the golden Buddha, it was always there.
Mm.
But I'd forgotten who I was. I'd forgotten who I was. And I remember the exact day in August of 2022 when another incident
Mm.
um, happened in my personal life.
Mm.
It was July 31st, 2022.
Yes.
And I remember calling my prayer partner and saying, I think this is it. I think I'm going to die. But I cannot take this. I think this is it.
Mm.
And on that day, I marked that day in my calendar. I recorded an audio for myself that I listened to date.
Mm.
That is the day when my life took a turn. Everything I had learned at CSLK, everything I had learned at practitioner class came to a head that day.
Mm.
And something amidst the pain, something beautiful was born on that day.
Mm.
Something magical was
So,
born on that day. You know
so,
what? That
mm.
was 2022.
Ah.
When I joined CSL in 2018, when I was still in my give me the formula, give me my get rich quick scheme,
Mm.
I was at home, I was laying down and I was kind of dozing off. And I saw a visual in my mind
Mm.
that I didn't trust. Well, I was just daydreaming. That was in 2018. And on the 1st of August 2022, that vision was finally realized. I saw it happen in real time in my life, and it was a fulfillment of that vision. And I knew spirit doesn't lie,
Mm.
spirit doesn't waste experiences, spirit just doesn't do stuff for the sake of doing it. And that has taught me to trust in my intuition, to trust in the voice of spirit. When it speaks, I don't dismiss it.
Mm.
That has shifted my trust in self in very radical ways.
So were
And
you
now
vision?
I am,
Was it a
yes.
kind of visioning that you had? Then you got this vision.
When it happened in 2018, it was a vision.
Mm.
And so when I was going through a crisis in 2022, I sat down and I was broken. And I remember sitting down and closing my eyes, and I heard the voice in my heart
Mm.
saying, "This is the time to remember. This is the time to remember. This is the junction now where you left you for the masks and facades and all these labels that you had put on yourself. And
Mm.
this is the time to remember." And I sat down and I said, "What?" And I'm telling you, in my mind, it played out in real time. Some of them are very personal issues that I cannot be able to share openly,
Mm. Mm.
but it played out in real time. I couldn't remember
Mm.
what had happened in 2018
Okay.
until at the end of it. That experience lasted around 2 hours, 45 minutes. And
Mm.
at the end of it, I said, aha, this is what I saw in 2018. I
Wow.
wasn't ready for it then in consciousness.
Mm.
But look at this personal crisis that had happened, and I thought it was the worst thing to have ever happened to me.
Mm.
But looked at what it cracked open and allowed to happen.
So let me put it this way. Despite you having gone through a number of classes at CSLK and even becoming a practitioner, you are still in crisis. Then
Yes,
something triggered the memory, or rather, something
yes,
triggered within, and you had a voice about remembering.
yes, because being a practitioner does not mean that you will not have unpleasant experiences in life.
Yeah, yeah.
That is life, doing life.
Mm.
But I always ask myself, when it happens, now I'm able to do that.
Mm.
When this is playing out, how would God look at this?
Yes. So
How would God see?
during the introduction of this episode, we talked about people focusing or prophesying negativities on themselves by preparing for the worst. And many people do that because they say you have to be careful, watch out, be ready for anything. Anything can happen, any eventuality. But we learned the other day that there's a technique one can use so that they can remind themselves of the other side, the greatest possibilities. And I think you have attended a class on that. And I think that is what I'd like us to discuss now. And how did you find it and how has it affected your life?
I was thanks for bringing that up. It is what if it all goes right?
Yes.
It was a class that I was introduced to by Karen,
Who is
and
Karen?
Karen Lee of Soma,
Okay.
and myself and Christopher Okello attended that class.
Yeah.
I sat in that class and I understood what she was saying, but I didn't understand it. I
Mm.
got it intellectually.
That's a new one in a stand.
I understood it intellectually, but
Yeah.
I didn't really get it. And it's also something that I had to sit with. It was very exciting
Mm.
because one thing, I'm the kind of person that struggles with affirmations. I've struggled with
Mm.
affirmations for a while and it doesn't feel true. When
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can
yeah.
say I am wealthy and abundant,
Many people have that feeling.
Yes, because I can say I'm wealthy, I'm abundant, but I'm looking at my bank account and
Mm.
it's reflecting something totally different. So,
True.
how do I believe this affirmation that I'm speaking over my life, that I am abundant, I am wealthy, or I am healthy and I'm lying on a hospital bed? How do I believe that? So, what if it all goes all right is a different take
Mm.
on affirmations? What if? And from what we know about our minds are not able to leave a statement hanging. It has to fulfill it. That has
Yes.
been proven by science. You can't
Yes.
leave a statement hanging.
Yes.
So, what if? And what if opens a way of looking at this situation in a totally different way?
Mm.
Because, say, I'm going for a job interview and everything looks very bleak, and my mind is giving me all the worst kind of scenarios that could happen. Or I'm sickly. I am waiting for a diagnosis from the doctor.
Mm.
I've run some tests, and my mind is giving me every scenario of everything that could go wrong. And
Yes.
at that time, you're not able to rein in those thoughts. What if upping introduces a new way of looking at the same situation with different eyes? So you're waiting for a hospital report, and your mind is telling you it's doomsday. It's giving you all kinds of negative reports. But what if? And what if introduces another way, which was always available? But you see, when we zero in on the negativity, we can't see anything else outside of that. We can only see the negativity.
Yes.
But there are infinite possibilities that already exist here and now
Mm.
on how you can look at this particular situation.
Sure.
So that is what if upping introduces, because this possibility is not something you're dreaming up. It
Oh,
already exists
it
as
exists.
a current reality.
Mm.
So what if upping allows you to take your mind off the chaos, off the negativity, off
Mm.
the spiraling, and it actually has an effect of balancing you,
Mm.
because once you change perspective from
Mm.
all the negativity, all the fear, all the doubt,
Mm.
and introduce a new perspective, a new take, a new angle of looking at the same situation,
Yeah.
but with different eyes.
Sure.
So, what if this report came back and I have nothing to worry about? What if this report came back and the doctor suggested this kind of modality to handle it, to take care of it? What if there's never really something to worry about? I'll give an example.
Mm.
There's a time I couldn't swallow.
Mm.
I was having a difficult challenge swallowing. I had a lot of nausea. I was feeling feverish. I had a lot of pain. Every time I ate, I'd feel like something was stuck in my throat.
Yeah.
And so I looked it up on Google, and it gave me a very dark and gloomy report.
Can imagine.
And it's very scary because
Uh,
the symptoms I was exhibiting matched what was being described there on
mm.
Google.
Mm.
I went to hospital. I had a test, and it was nothing close to that. Because I asked myself, if I sit here and entertain this, it expands in of itself.
Sure.
I'm stressing my body, my nervous system is on fight or flight, I
Mm.
cannot think straight, I cannot rest. What if it is not what I think?
Mm.
And I entertained that idea, and I got caught up in it, and I just sat down and said, what if this is not actually what I think it is? When I'm looking at it, it looks really bad.
Mm.
But what if this is not the actual situation? Because there are infinite possibilities that exist, already
Yes.
exist. Am
Yes.
I open to another possibility?
Mm-hmm.
Am I able to open up to something different?
Mm-hmm.
And so, as I did that and allowed myself to go into that place and opened up to a different possibility, I go to hospital. There was nothing wrong with me. It was just a bit of acid. I got some tabs, and that was it. But look at the report that had been given. No, you have this is throat cancer. The numbers don't look good. Most people die from this disease after I don't know how long. But it was never any of that. So by allowing yourself to open up to a different possibility,
Mm.
you change
Yes.
the focus of where your mind is into
Mm.
something else.
Yeah.
Take your mind off the
Mm.
negativity and the doubt and
And mind,
focus on
and
seeing
we also know
what
about
is there
mind
to
of
come in.
we know about mind over matter, and if you
Yes,
persisted, if continued or thinking the way you are scared of, something would have been created
yes,
because that's where you're
because
going.
my thoughts have the power to create, and
Yes,
they expand.
yeah,
They expand. The energy around that thought expands, and it
yes,
brings in more circumstances and more thoughts that are
mm,
like-minded to this emotion. And so you
yes,
keep pulling more and more of that in.
yeah. And I think, not I think, I know, like when you have a particular thought, when you entertain a particular thought, whether negative or positive, you entertain it for 15 seconds, it brings another one to support what you're thinking. You hold it again for 10,
Yes.
15 seconds, a third one is born, a bigger one. So if it was scaring, it became more scaring. So the idea of what if is something better so that your mind now is focused on bringing another better alternative. And they keep on growing. And as you say, before you know it, it's gone.
What if upping? The more I read that book and studied the effects of changing and shifting my perspective, there's something in our minds called, in our brains called a reticular activating system,
Mm,
RAS,
mm,
and it filters out everything that is unlike your dominant state
mm.
because it perceives it to be a waste of energy. So it
Yeah.
filters it out. So if my focus is on negativity, disease, pain, loss, grief, and I'm not saying that we should live in denial.
Mm,
It is to acknowledge that this is currently happening. This is the situation right here and right now. I acknowledge it. I see it. Is there something I can be able to do about it right now? No, there isn't. So I take my mind off of that and look at it how God, how spirit, how life would look at it. And
mm,
so the more I keep shifting from the
mm,
negativity, from
mm,
the pain, from the loss, and
mm,
focusing on the good that is present right here and right now, what the reticular activating system does, it recalibrates itself
mm.
from focusing on that. It will be persistent because this is a way of life that
Yeah.
you have taught yourself to do. So it
Yes.
once the reticular activating system learns that you keep shifting from that, taking your mind off of it, it goes back. It's like a muscle.
Mm.
And so the
Yes.
more you keep changing perspective
It's stronger.
and looking at the situation differently, your reticular activating system learns to
Yes.
do that. And so it filters out this and now focuses on what is your dominant state.
Okay. And the more you do it, as
Yes.
you say, it gets muscle and it becomes stronger. It
Yeah,
becomes
it's like a muscle. You have,
habit.
it's not a one day thing. You
Yeah.
keep working it. The more it goes back to negativity, you work it, change your perspective. What if, and soon enough, it
Yeah.
starts filtering all that as a waste of energy and
Yes.
focuses on your dominant state.
So the whole idea comes from the book called "What If." What if all goes up goes? What's the name of the
What if
book?
it all goes right?
Yes. And that question, what if, is much simpler than an affirmation because an affirmation states what is supposed to be a fact. But your mind cannot, because your mind is saying what is the condition around you. But what if it gives you or gives you possibilities, and therefore the brain starts
Absolutely.
looking for those possibilities and gives it to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you're
So
not saying to yourself,
yeah.
I have $1 million in my account.
Mm,
You're just opening up to possibility, and
mm,
your mind cannot be able to resist that
yeah.
because you are just opening up to the possibility, and
Yes.
that possibility is a current reality here and now. And the more you open up to it,
Mm,
and the more you retrain your mind to open up to the other possibility,
mm.
the more we learn how to occupy that state.
Yes. I can't believe
Yes,
how time flies when we start doing these these interviews. Well,
absolutely.
yeah, we
Time
have
really does fly when you're
yeah,
having fun.
we have like 2 minutes. So apart from
Yes.
very briefly, apart from learning that technique of what if upping as we call it, What else can you say has been the benefit for you joining Science of Mind? In a minute,
What can I say has?
what have you benefited in being living the philosophy of Science of Mind?
Oh my goodness.
In a minute.
I don't think I can summarize that in 2 minutes. But what I can say is that one of the biggest benefits is that I am no longer a victim. I am not a victim to life. I
Mm,
am not a victim to circumstances. I know that I am the operant power in my life.
okay.
I know that my life circumstances, that responsibility is on me and not on a power outside of me. And that is empowering in ways I can't begin to describe.
Mm,
That the buck stops with me. I
yes.
am responsible. I have no one or nothing outside of myself to blame. I am the operant power in my life. And I stop playing victim to life and circumstances and
Yes.
taking back my power, which I'd given away
Okay.
for as long as I can remember. I am in my 40s and I can't remember having lived a life where I feel so empowered, even
Mm,
when I was in my 20s, like I do now.
yes. And that is
Yes,
why that's what Jesus meant when he said the power is within us. The kingdom
the power,
is within us. And until we
it
discover
always
that,
was.
when we stop thinking that the power is out there and we are victims, that's where we go wrong.
The
So
power was never outside of me.
yeah,
It was always within me.
it was never outside of us. So thank you very
It
much.
was always within me.
Thank you very much, Kerith. I'm sure we'll be meeting again sooner or later, maybe at the talk show and other places. But time is up for now. So thank you very much. And until we meet again here or elsewhere,
Thank you so much for having me.
all the best.
It
Thank you
was a
very much.
pleasure, Patrick.
Asante sana.
Namaste.
Namaste.